It's another. Oh, we've lost Jean. She's going to turn on the light so that we will. This will be a. There you go. See the difference? Um, so we have that. So we're going to shed a little light on fear this evening. I've had a sort of a different kind of experience with it for the first time, and something new in my life. Um, and Jean has a really interest. I was reading some of her stuff, and it's really quite interesting and to the point. So we'll let Jean start.
So,
How is that for an introduction?
yeah, thanks. So I've been thinking a lot about fear because it's what I'm hearing from people I work with, and what I'm hearing just in the general atmosphere is it seems to be fairly prevalent right now. There's a lot of unknowns. There's crazy astrology that we just came through a month of intense astrological happenings. And so I've been thinking a lot about it. And I read this quote in my email from a person I follow. The sense of fear that exists in humanity does not belong to humanity, and it can be given back to those who have brought it here. Now, he wasn't forthcoming about those who brought it here, and I don't know who they are, and I don't really think it matters. But what I do know is that my feeling is it doesn't really belong to us. We are love incarnate, and when we embody that, there's really not a lot of room for fear. But being human, it comes up. It just does. And in my experience, it occurs almost always right before a big leap or even a small one sometimes. Uh, just a big period of expansion. And there's always that, what am I getting into feeling? And so I've, I was writing about it in my newsletter, and it just seems like really when you embrace the fear, step back, take a breath, and then move forward anyway, out of choice, almost always there's on the other side of that is something really amazing or something very interesting or what you're truly meant to be doing. So I've gathered a few stones together. If you read my newsletter, I have some of them in there that we can talk about that sort of act as I don't know. They help you through your fear. They help you to look at it, or they help you to um, feel more capable of dealing with it. So the first one I have, and this is one of my favorites, is I don't know if you'll be able to see this without it falling on my computer, but Muakai jasper. This stone, go ahead, is a stabilizer. It's beautiful. But jasper in general, and this is my favorite jasper, this is a stone about stability and equilibrium, which is something you really, if you're in the grips of fear, you don't really have a lot of. But it really carries that it's Australian, and I find the Australian stones have deep wisdom about just existing in this world or dancing in this world or living in the dream. So this is a stone that connects you with that ancient wisdom of really getting stable within your body. So, and it's a great physical balancer as well. So that's Muakai jasper is one of my faves. And another one that I like to work with fear is Dravite, which is brown tourmaline. This is a particularly nice one. It's two crystals together. Um, I prefer it to black tourmaline because it's a softer energy, but no less powerful. And it actually alleviates fear by focusing you in the present moment and really getting you into your body. And you're much more able to deal with things that come up when you're present. So this is how this stone works. It also deflects negative energy. So it's a good stone to have. It sort of clears the way for you in situations where you really may be hesitant to move forward. Um, So that's a Dravite. Another one of my favorites is carnelian. And this is my favorite. This is mine, my personal stone, but I carry it a lot. And I carry it for different reasons, but it does work really well with the second chakra, which is where you carry or store a lot of your fears, a lot of the fears that maybe don't serve you anymore, but are still, your body still remembers them. So the carnelian works with those by either bringing them to the surface so that you can look at them, or sometimes you really don't need to attach to them. You just need to be aware that they're there and embody that the wisdom that they've taught you. So this is a good stone for that. Um, and you have a couple of your own stones and your own ideas about how to work with fear.
Yeah. Well, it has been said, that fear is nothing more than excitement without breath, and that speaks right into what Jean was saying about fear. A lot of times precedes big changes because like a lot of us are uncomfortable with stuff as it changes. And if you breathe into it, it can kind of go away. Another stone that I use a lot is called the Flame of Ishtar. This is a calcite crystal inside of an apophyllite cluster. And the action that it does is it allows the the feeling of fear to be, as I put it eloquently, squashed down. It sort of pushes it actually down into the second chakra, and it leaves all the energy of that the fear creates, that fight or flight stuff, up in the the higher parts of your consciousness to do work relevant to whatever it was that was fearful in the first place. And I mentioned earlier that I was having a strange and interesting experience with fear of my own, which is unusual. For me, I've never really experienced this before. It started out in January, and it's been this kind of like, it's like a waveform. It's sort of going like this. And it started out with going to Tucson, which is, that's always ever so slightly, uh, it does produce a little bit of anxiety because you're trying to get ready to go and do stuff. You're hoping that people are going to show up. You're thinking, well, God, I hope I find the stuff that I need to find, and am I going to get there? So we drove out there and everything was fine. And we got there and we went through the show and we got this brand new place that we were staying at. It was really nice. I mean, this is the best place that we've had in 20 years of staying out there.
Talked about this.
Huh?
We've talked about this already. Huh?
Well, it was really nice. But it's part of the cycle. So this was this wonderful thing. And then we were getting ready to leave. And what happens? The transmission goes out in the truck. And that's a kind of a big deal because all of a sudden you're trapped in a space and you need to get back to wherever you were originally because you had other things to do. And so that was, that created a sort of a low point. But, we got most of the stuff taken care of, and we discovered that there were people there immediately available to help us, our friends, the Obajiskis. And that was like a really high point for me. It probably was for Jean. And then, we got the truck fixed. We drove home. That was all good. We got back here. We did a show in Chicago. We did a show in Kalamazoo, and we thought, well, the truck's good. We're ready to go. So we drove down to Nashville, and we got within 30 miles of Nashville, and guess what? The transmission went out in the truck again. So now we're stuck in Nashville. We don't know whether we're going to be able to get to the show that we were doing at Cosmic Connection. This was a little bit of anxiety and fear producing. But once again, a friend of ours just happened to be driving back from Michigan. And so he was only a few miles from us. And I called him and I told him that
Go ahead.
Oh, that was a written interruption. Anyway, apparently you've heard this story, and then, we got a new car and we did the show and it was all lovely. And then we drove back here and then things really started to fall apart. For me, at least. I mean, I had some sort of semi-business reversal. Stuff wasn't really going very well. We had to get our taxes and pay for them, stuff like that just kind of like throws a wrench into the works. And I had to rent a truck to go to this next show, which is in Cincinnati this weekend. And I got a phone call from my sister, and she had some of the most astounding news that I've ever heard, and things had just like reversed entirely for her and her entire family. So that was like really good news. And then I went to pick up the truck, and it turns out that this truck is about 3 times the size of the truck that we need. It doesn't have cruise control, which is particularly difficult for me to drive. So this is another anxiety-producing thing. So we're leaving in the morning for Cincinnati. But it just goes to show you that sometimes this fear stuff can go in these cycles. And if you have some of these stones that you can carry around with you, or you can use those as repositories, you can put some of that fear thinking into the stones and let it sit there rather than having to mess around with you personally all the time, which was the point of the story. I hope you liked it.
And I did want to point out by shoving it down into the second chakra, I think what he means, and I'm speaking for you, so you can smack me later. But I think what you meant is it does transmute. It doesn't. It's not like you're putting it there to fester. It's
Oh.
just that it's a particular area where you can create energy from the fear. So I just wanted to clarify that because I don't know. I just did. So anyway,
I hope it clarified it for you, Gene.
yeah. And hopefully other people anyway. So anyway, that's it for this week. If you're in the Cincinnati area, we will be there at the Body Mind Spirit Festival in Sharonville this weekend, and we hope to see you if you're around. And also, we appreciate you and hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you.
And perhaps
down the
later,
road.
Gene and I can carry on a little dialogue about
Oh yeah, we
what to do
will.
with fear. That would be kind of interesting and informative.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Stay on the brighter side of life.